We've all shared scary stories, whether that be around a campfire or fun sleepovers when we were younger. The best kind of tales were the ones where you could scare the crap out of a friend by daring them to do something that would test their bravery. Like saying Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror while holding a lit candle. Hello dissectors, welcome back for another spooky episode. If you're new to the channel, thanks for joining us. Today we are going to explore the urban legend of Bloody Mary. Was she a real person, and if so, what did she do to gain the title she has? Is she bloody or just misunderstood? Not only do the tales of how to contact her differ, but so do the reasons for doing it. Some say if you say her name 3 times in a dark room holding a lit candle, she will appear in the mirror, and if you look behind you, she will claw out your eyes or drag you into the mirror with her to torture you for all eternity. The tales go on and on. Unmarried women used to hold a lit candle and a hand mirror while walking backwards up the stairs saying her name. Apparently when they got to the top step and looked into the mirror, the reflection of the man they would marry would be seen. But beware, because there was a chance you might see the face of the Grim Reaper, which meant you would die before you got married. But whichever way the story goes, stories on it are always dripping in blood and violence. This begs the question, who was Mary? Some believe it to be Elizabeth Bathory, who in her time was nicknamed Queen of Blood after being convicted for the murder of hundreds of poor young girls. It seems she loved nothing more than to bathe in their blood, as she thought it would keep her looking young. This feels a stretch, as her name isn't even Mary, although she did enjoy tormenting young girls. Another candidate for the title is Queen Mary I. Her father was Henry VIII, and so you could say she never had a supportive male role model in her life, especially as he forbade her from seeing her mother after he got his marriage to her annulled. She became Queen Mary in 1553 and was to blame for the deaths of around 240 men and 60 women after sentencing them to being burnt at the stake. Why, you might wonder? Well, it was because they were Protestants. She believed God punished her for her actions though, as she had many miscarriages and other personal misfortunes over the years. Maybe she could be Bloody Mary, but it seems she was regretful of her actions, so would she come back to shed more blood and horror? My money is on Mary Worth, who was thought to be a witch. She lived alone in the forest away from all the other villagers and was known for making tinctures and herbal remedies, which she sold to those brave enough to go near her. The locals were terrified of her and didn't like to get too close in case she cursed them or their livelihood. Even the people who bought potions from her were often shunned by the highly religious in the community. One day though, life in the village started to take a sinister turn, as young girls started to go missing. No matter how much the villagers searched the area, they just couldn't be found. Some brave people even went up to Mary's cabin and asked if she'd seen or heard anything. Her response was blunt, denying any knowledge of anything. But the villagers came away with a sick feeling in the pit of their stomach. Was it their imagination, or did Mary Worth appear to be looking more youthful? Then late one evening, the young daughter of the village miller went missing. Her mother had been nursing a bad toothache in bed and not noticed her daughter leaving the home. Worth noting is that the herbal remedy she was using for her tooth pain was bought from Mary. Anyway, the mother was going crazy with worry and screaming for help. Her husband and other villagers searched the area, but the young girl was nowhere to be found. Then the local farmer noticed what looked like a strange light coming from the woods. Cautiously, the villagers followed the light and noticed Mary standing in a clearing holding what appeared to be a wand that glowed, and heading towards that light was the miller's daughter. Well, you can imagine the outcry that followed. The villagers attacked Mary with guns loaded with silver bullets and pitchforks as she tried to make her escape. One farmer got close enough that when he shot at Mary, his bullet hit her in the hip. Now on the ground and screaming all kinds of abuse at them, she tried to break free from their grasp by kicking, punching and clawing at their faces. The fate of Mary became very obvious. While still screaming, she was tied to a stake where they then built a bonfire around her and lit her up. As she started to burn, she began to laugh, cursing all the villagers. She said if any of them dared speak her name again, she'd make sure it was the last name they ever uttered. Mary promised to return and take her revenge on them. The story doesn't end here though. When Mary was dead, The villagers nervously examined the contents of her cabin and found what they expected: dead animals and herbs, probably for her remedies and dinner. What they didn't expect was what they discovered at the back of her cabin. It was row upon row of unmarked graves that, after being dug up, housed the dead bodies of the young missing children. It seems that, just like Elizabeth Bathory, Mary wanted to look more youthful and was using the children's blood as a way to acquire this. So, are you still feeling brave, dissectors? Would you say Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror? Will she appear to rip your soul and body to shreds? Looking in the mirror most days and seeing my reflection is bad enough, so not sure it's worth saying her name and seeing her too. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever tried contacting Bloody Mary, or maybe there was another childhood story that terrified you that you would like to share with me. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Stay safe out there.